Yeah. I'd like to welcome everybody to Bruce Township's February 19, 2025 Board of Trustees meeting. Can you get a roll call, please?
Supervisor Philbrook.
Here.
Clerk Kraft.
Here.
Treasurer DeGiorgio.
Here.
Trustee Sokowich.
Here.
Trustee Vincent.
Here.
Just stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out on such a cold night, and appreciate it. We'll try to get to the meeting as soon as best we can. Got a pretty full agenda. Has the board had an opportunity to take a look at the consent agenda? Is there any deletions or additions they'd like to make?
We talked about adding a budget amendment for the overtime.
We need to add that, that's correct. So you want to add that to item 8T, like in Tom? Need to remove 2 items from the agenda. Item 8C, Bruce Township zoning ordinance 161, needs to go back to the planning commission for some language work. And then also item 8F, the planning commission's yearly goals. They still want to review that, so it'll come back in the future. We need to make a correction on item 8H, set the public hearing for the 2024-2025 budgets for general fire, ALS, and improvement revolving. It should say 2025-2026.
That was a good catch.
And, okay. And that's all I got. If there's no other additions or deletions, motion to approve the consent agenda is amended.
Support.
Ordered by DeGiorgio, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Consent agenda is approved. Going to move on to item 4, which is comments from, we don't have, item 4, comments from the floor. So now's the opportunity if you would like to speak with a certain subject, other than we do have a public hearing for the CDBGs. So if you're going to speak we'll have a public hearing for the CDBGs, so you can wait to speak on that part when we do have the public hearing for that. Any other agenda items, you're welcome to come up to the podium, state your name, your address, and we'd like to keep the comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. So.
Hi, my name is Kim Voss. I live at 247 North Fremont. I'm a member of the Green Space of Romeo Board of Directors. So I really just came here today, along with some folks who are in the back, to let you know the Green Space of Romeo is going to move forward in the RFP process, and we will be submitting an offer to the Romeo School District to purchase the land at 297 Prospect Street. The attachment that we provided to you kind of gives you the background on that piece of property and what we have in mind for it, but I can take any questions you might have at this time.
Does anybody have any questions? Is it Kim, did you say?
Kim Voss, B like in Victor, OSS.
Are you going to be at the next board meeting for the school board?
Yes, we are not on the agenda, but we are going to be having a number of people speak during the public comments.
What's the latest with this Romeo schools? Are they still, I mean, I heard that there's a for sale sign back up at the property.
Yeah.
Give us a little bit of an update on where you guys stand as far as the bid process, maybe?
The The offers, I believe, the bid process, they're due by March 14th, I believe, and we are going to be submitting an offer at that time, and we anticipate that others will as well. So we just wanted you to know because that property is in Bruce Township, and we would like to have your support and answer any questions you might have.
So I think Washington Township currently, they have it on their agenda also for this evening. I think they're looking to possibly put a letter of support together for your committee, if I'm not mistaken.
I think they are.
So we may look at it in the near future, possibly about doing the same thing. We find out what Washington Township's going to be doing.
Okay.
And then also maybe we'll have to speak with our attorney to make sure that what we do is going to be, correct. I mean, obviously still within the village on the Bruce Township side, but, so.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Does anyone have any other questions? Okay, thanks.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do.
Hi, my name is Richard Corey. I live at 322 Chandler in the Village. And I really just wanted to thank the board. I mean, every single one of you have been to some of our meetings for GSOP. Financially, you've been there for us, and it's just been great. This is really a community-wide event, and I'm happy to be part of it, and you guys have been a big part of it, too. And we're having people sign. We're going to send this to the school board, so we're looking for signatures. So somebody will be in the back today if we can do that, Mike.
I'm with me, Richard.
Other than that, thanks a lot for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks, Richard. Okay. Public comments?
Paul Okoniewski, 71970 Lasser Road, Bruce Township. I'm here to talk about the police tax that's being proposed. Excuse me. And we're having a hard time getting information. For instance, there's two key questions that have not been answered. One is how much of the $2.9 million Bruce Township County tax goes to the sheriff? Even the sheriff wasn't able to answer that, and that needs to be answered. And the next one is what are the statistics indicating that there's a need for this? All we're hearing is there's a bunch of new families in the community asking about it. Well, if you've looked around lately, there's a heck of a lot of Michigan State Police, and that was done by just one phone call. There was two no-cost proposals were made and turned down by Mike. So it looks like special interests are controlling what's going on in the township. So we have to ask, why all of a sudden is this coming up? Well, when you guys were elected the first time, you tried proposing and bringing in marijuana shops. That was turned down twice by this community. And one of the key elements of doing that is to have a tax fund or a township-funded police force, which we currently don't have. So it really looks like the marijuana is going to be the next thing if this was to be pushed through and then, approved by the citizens. So we want to get these things answered. Another thing on the rezoning request yet again is if you've been asking why it can't be built to the current zoning. It doesn't seem to be a key question when you guys look at rezoning. But it looks like there's too many special interests trying to control the township. We need the clerk and the trustees to form a coalition to take this township back from the special interests that are controlling.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Kimberly Plattavoy, 72255 Fisher Road. I didn't see it on the agenda, but in the packet for you guys, I noticed that there was an applicant for the part-time position that you're currently offering here in the township. In regards to that part-time position in the building department, the applicant that was in the packet appears to be an outstanding young lady with an awesome future ahead of her. However, she is underage and currently in school. It was my understanding that the job posting that the applicants must be high school graduate. Were there other applicants for this position? This position is currently held by a full-time employee that works part-time in assessing and part-time in building. There is a full-time employee that works in planning that needs additional help. It's my understanding from previous meetings that employee in assessing and needs additional help to complete her task. That being said, you are moving the employee that works part-time in assessing and part-time in building to leave building and go work part-time in assessing. Now, I'm not sure if any of you have ever had to train somebody, but it's very time-consuming, and for the current employee trying to train, it makes their job much more harder because you're doing two jobs at once. I'm assuming that there's a ton to learn in the building department. It's not simple data entry and answering phones. It has been said at previous meeting that your goal was to always have someone in the building department should the manager need time off or is sick. I do not see how this young lady could be of help in that situation as she is still in school, and I assume, again, that her schedule is dictated by school. I recommend that you make this a full-time position. Doing this would allow the employee to work in building as well as an additional department such as the treasurer's. The treasurer has said multiple times that additional help is needed in his department, and he currently has part-time people helping. I understand that a full-time employee costs the township more, but when looking at longevity, it makes more sense. Just my opinion.
Thank you. Public comment still open?
Hi, guys. I'm Sarah Casper, 70130 Mellon. I have a couple letters, one to you and then also one to Lombardo. I don't know if they're here, but this is being sent to them, and I wanted to share it with you guys. I've been called a dirty hippie and a tree hugger by my dearest family and friends. While they're not wrong, I'm more of a holder of tree hands. We're humans. We want to live with nature, in nature, but not because of nature. Whatever. I walk through life with nature, is my point. So this is a letter to Lombardo and the other contractors of the area. I've watched you build homes for decades in our rural community. Your homes are beautiful as the families that fill them. Our communities have been your bread and butter for years. My concern is not the building of the homes, but the butchering of the landscapes and the sterile environments you plot in these cookie-cutter homes that are put onto it. I'm asking you to revamp how you do business. Stop taking and start giving back. Show your appreciation of all the exception for all. Sorry, I'm very nervous if you can't tell. Stop taking and start giving back. Show your appreciation for all and make exceptions. And stop parcel dividing. This township has provided for you. Respect how much you have been given. Stop asking, start changing. I ask you to consider the color green, not that of your profit margins, but that of the environment and community that you are helping to grow. Sure, small half-acre plots are great for business and the market, but rationing a portion of these fields and woods to be nature and natural, owned by HOAs you help control, would help maintain the nature of Bruce Township. And then a letter to you as well. My board, this is one suggestion of how we can maintain growth without compromising the integrity of our master plan. As I watch old farmlands beginning to be scooped up by contractors, I also watch you chip away at the values of this community. No matter the reason, this has to stop. But it doesn't mean that we need to prevent growth. We don't have to be like every other community. We can be our own. We can work hand in hand with nature and still grow. You have the opportunity to distinguish Bruce as a worthy place for positive change and growth by creating rules and regulations that will set a precedence for our future. Thank you.
Thank you. Public comment, anybody else at all? Close public comment then, 6:14. Okay, move on. Thank you, everybody. Going to go on to hearings and reviews. We have, item 5A, our Parks and Recreation 2025-2026 budget for Parks and Rec. We got Kim Duda and it looks like Claire Russell here.
I'm Claire Russell. I want to welcome all of the new members and all of the previous members, and I want to introduce Kim Duda. She's a treasurer for the Parks and Recreation and Star Transportation Commission. And then Bob Billock, who's in the audience, he's our chairman. They're the ones that are here tonight. So I was going to let Kim talk for a second just to kind of tell you where we're at, and then I'll hit the budget real quick.
Good evening. I just wanted to give a quick update from an investment standpoint and some of the things that the commission is currently working on. We have invested $1.5 million in laddering CDs for 3, 6, and 12 months. We did that with Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union along with LPL Financial. And then we did also laddering CDs for Star Transportation in the amount of $600,000. Same thing, 3, 6, 9, and 12 months. Those interest rates range from 4.05% to 4.5%. If you did want the breakdown in the detail, I can certainly provide that. We are also working on a mini HR audit. We're going to be looking at the policies and procedures, employee handbooks, job descriptions, and things of that nature, just to ensure that we're in compliance. We also are in the process of getting credit cards established through Huntington Bank. And we do have a new rep at PNC Bank, which is where we do our primary banking. She is very committed to helping us, which will allow us to move forward in other areas as well. We've had issues in the past with getting credit cards and things of that nature. But it's looking like the reason for that was the name change that occurred a couple of years ago. So with that being said, we are likely going to have to close our existing accounts with them, reopen accounts with PNC Bank, which is going to be a little bit of work, but considering that she's so committed to helping us through this process, we think it's the right move. So we will be working on that after the close of this fiscal year.
Thank you, Kim.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, so on to the Parks and Recreation budget. This year, our budget is balanced at $3,185,679. Just a quick look at our fund balance, just so you kind of know where the investments and everything are coming from. At the end of this last fiscal year, we had $4 million in our fund balance. The commission has assigned $1.8 million of that for future use and development. We have restricted $15,000 of a donation that was set aside to go towards hopefully a future playground. Then we also have appropriated funds of $1.5 million set aside from April through December. We need money before we collect our taxes in January so that we can operate. And then we also have $900,000 this year set aside for capital projects, which we'll talk about in just a minute. So if you flip to page 2, it just kind of gives you an overview of our millage funds. It has the breakdown of Washington's, Bruce's, and then the, I forgot the definition of the LSCA stabilization funds that are set aside inside the budget. It also gives you a breakdown of our millage history and our voting history if you want to look at that. Page 3 goes into our administrative. This year we did a 2.5% for our full-time and permanent part-time staff. We looked at the Social Security COLA is where we use that from. We have no unions at Parks and Recreation, so this is how we normally give raises, by looking at how COLA, or this is how we've done it in the past few years. So that is what we've decided this year, what was passed by the commission. Moving on to page 4, before, this is our operations. It's what it basically costs to run our day-to-day operations, to run our departments. There's nothing really out of the ordinary there. We had some overages this year. Our audit was a little bit different this year because of the commission. The commission was combined, so our audit was combined into one, which was unique. So it did cost a little bit extra this year. We're hoping that that will even out as we go through. But I did budget the same amount that it costs so that just in case we have issues this year, but we should be fine as we're going through. We are also looking at an accounting software as we go forward this year because ours is becoming obsolete, as well as our registration program is becoming obsolete. So we are looking at replacing that for this year as well. Capital development, when you move on to page 5, these are all of our improvements, development, and capital development. The bottom part is designated on page 6. It's all of the details. The capital development, I feel like I'm being confused, sorry. If you look at page 6, it will show you in detail what the plan is for this year that we're going to be working on. For each of our parks. Washington Township Park will be resurfacing the trail, adding some tree buffers to where we added the pickleball courts and redid the tennis courts last year. We need to fix some of the tracks on the pavilion that is there. Gilcher Park will be resurfacing the path there as well and adding the front. We are going to resurface the entire front. We're going to add a pavilion, possibly two. We're looking at both. We're putting a bid out for that. When you come over to the Bruce area, at Crystal Diamonds, we're looking at re-graveling that area, adding fencing. North Macomb Community Soccer has offered to pay for lighting for the soccer area there. So we'd like to jump on to that project and possibly add lights to the 3 diamonds that we have out there because we have lost some of the school diamonds. So by adding lights to diamonds, that's like adding 3 additional ones, if not more. At Bruce for the community center, we have been limited on the different upgrades that we have done to that building, so we are in need of some of the upgrades there because that really is our main house, one of them that we're living at. So we are doing some of the upgrades there. We need some roof work and bathroom work and wall work for the multi-purpose rooms that we use. And then we have miscellaneous. We have a truck maintenance program where we're replacing, this would be the 3rd truck and last truck that we'll be replacing over a 3-year period. So these are the main projects that we'll be working on. And then when you flip through page 7 and 8, these are our maintenance of the buildings that we take care of, the Washington site, as well as the Romeo Community Center, day-to-day maintenance, as well as the parks, playgrounds are on page 8. And then when you get to page 9, it's a general overview of our programs. Our programs are set up so that our revenue pay for our expenses. We have been continuing to build our revenue. We hope that this will continue. We have looked at the budget and taken some of the costs that really are more administrative or millage-based and put them where they belong so that we are not in the red anymore in our programs. So the pages 9A through 9F give you a complete breakdown of every category of our programs. And that's really it for Parks and Recreation. I don't know if there's a lot of pages here and a lot of information. I don't know if you have any questions or specific questions. I'd be happy to answer them.
I have one.
Yes.
Bruce, Orchard Hills Park, we were looking at security cameras and lighting out there. It's going to continue going on for this year? I know the project was started.
Yes, it's in the process right now, actually. Yep, we had just met with them, but then we got hit by this weather, so it's a little bit delayed, but it should be, it's in the process, except
And is that DTE's going to put the?
DTE, yes. Yeah,
I have no other question.
yeah. Yeah, actually, I should say that the commission, we've really been moving along, and it's been great, because we've been kind of halted for a while, and they've been great, really working with us. I mean, we've got trails, we've got the new parking lot, we've got the accessible playground, the tennis court is redone, we've got pickleball courts. We are looking, that was one of the things that I kind of skipped over. We're looking for an area on the northern end to add pickleball courts in this area in this budget this year. Right now, we're adding fencing and lighting and electric to Gilcher as well. And like Mike said, the Orchard Hills Park right now at this time. So things are happening, and that's what we want. You know, we've got this large sum of money. We need development. We've got a lot of people. We've got great parks, and they're only going to get better. So.
Anybody have any more questions for Claire? Is this, obviously the budget year's till 3/31, is there going to be an amendment you're going to bring to us in the future, or is this, are we approving the budget?
This is for 25-26. This is the, nope, we're really good on, yeah, we're all set. Yeah.
But how do you know what numbers you're going to be? You're going to have expenses between now and the end of the March.
Yeah, but we've been watching. We've been watching them, and we're good.
So we're here to approve this budget then for the Parks and Rec tonight then?
For next year.
Right.
Yeah, this is the estimated budget for next year. So I can't promise you I won't have budget amendments next year. But.
Anybody will make a motion to approve as presented?
Make a motion to approve the 25-26 Parks and Rec budget as presented.
Support.
Motion by Georgia, support by Sokowitz. We have no other further discussion. Can we get a roll call, please, Emery?
Philbrook.
Yes.
Kraft.
Yes.
DeGiorgio.
Yes.
Sockowitz.
Yes.
Vincent.
Yes.
Motion carries. Good job, Claire. Thanks, Kim.
Thank
You want
you.
to stay there because the next agenda item is going to be 5B Star Transportation's budget. Or you want to just go right into that?
I will. Okay, so Star Transportation is balanced this year at $952,522,000. Star, for anybody that doesn't know, provides free transportation to anybody, any senior or anybody with permanent disabilities for free. It is ran through a millage. We have, at the end of this last fiscal year, $1.5 million in the fund balance. We have assigned funds set aside for a 2-year emergency plan of $1 million. For a 2-year emergency plan and for future capital and development. We have that money set aside just in case the SMART millage ever goes under. We depend on SMART. They give us 8 of our vehicles, of our 13 vehicles, 3 of the vans and 5 of the buses. They provide all of the repairs for those vehicles, as well as provide all of the maintenance, plus provide money for us for our operations beyond the millage. So if something ever did happen to SMART, we would want to make sure that we had enough money to operate as we went forward until we figured out a plan. So we started setting aside money for that as we went a few years ago. We also have other appropriated funds right now. We have $500,000 that we set aside that are for the April through December until we can collect taxes, so that we make sure we have enough money to pay our bills until our taxes come through. So, and Kim had kind of went over our investments, which is exciting that we actually are making some investment money, and it's a great thing. So The first page, page 2, goes over all of our revenue. Again, shows our interest. It shows the smart revenue. We get money from special services, from municipal credits, and from community credits. And then our millage breakdown from Washington, Bruce, and from La Casa. When you skip on to page 3, we have a breakdown. Part of my salary, as well as our accountant's salary, is paid for from the Parks and Recreation budget, as well as from the STAR budget, because I'm the director for both, and our accountant does the accountant work for both. So we are paid from both of the budgets. It shows the benefits and the staff overhead. Our one thing about STAR, it is all service. There is no product. There is no nothing. We just provide rides to our seniors and to our residents who are disabled. So when you flip on over to page 4, you can see the department expenses, what it takes to run the department on a day-to-day basis, the vehicle costs, or our capital improvements this year. We're looking at adding another vehicle. We're looking at adding on to our overhangs so that we can park our buses and our vans underneath, and adding an additional parking area for our SUVs or our cars so we don't have to park them on the grass, or they don't take up the parking spots for our senior center or our fitness center. So those are our projects for STAR this year. And then when you flip to page 5, this is where you really see where our service comes from, our part-time drivers. We have one full-time operation coordinator, and we have about 25 permanent part-time drivers, as well as dispatchers. Our dispatchers are there. They work in the office, but if we need to put them out on the road for whatever reason, they are trained as well and drug tested and everything like that, so that they can go out on the road and be backup drivers as well. So, and then when you look below, you can see the vehicles. Our repairs are high. Sometimes it just depends. We get in fender benders. If there are vehicles, we have to pay for it, or our insurance pays for it. We need to do the oil changes and everything on our cars. Some of our cars are older. We rotate them through. The older ones need more repairs. So we're hoping that those costs go down this year. Fuel costs, that's high, but it's high for everybody. So hopefully those costs will be low. But STAR is great since COVID. It was a slow grow of our service coming back, but I can't remember if it was it just grew so fast. The people and the needs just came back. It's just a great service. And I appreciate and want to thank everybody out there for voting for STAR and Parks and Recreation. So,
Questions for Clara? I have just one simple one, Claire.
yes.
We have $220,000 set aside for Parks and Rec, from Parks and Rec budget for the community center. Does some of that, since the STAR Transportation's housed in the community center, does some of that money come out of STAR's budget that goes into the capital improvements to the building, or is it all out of Parks and Rec?
No, so STAR, there's $26,000 that is within the STAR budget that they help pay for the overall general maintenance of the community center. And then they do help, like the facility parking lot, or that parking lot they'll be paying for themselves, and the software, but not the community projects that are going on, because those are like the multi-purpose walls that are happening there.
Okay, for more Parks and Rec activity.
Yeah,
For STAR.
but when it has to do with STAR, for sure, they pay their part. Like when we redid all of the Microsoft 365, they paid their portion of it from that. But this time, They don't really use the multipurpose rooms. They just use the parking lot and the outside in their offices, so.
Okay. Anybody else? Question?
I'll make a motion to approve the Washington Bruce Romeo Star Transportation budget for 2025-2026 as presented.
And I'll
Thank
second
you.
that motion. If there's no other discussion, may we get a roll call, please?
Hinton,
Yes.
Sockowitz,
Yes.
DeGiorgio,
Yes.
Kraft,
Yes.
Philbrook.
Yes, motion carries. Thanks, Claire. Thanks.
Thanks, Claire.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Kim. Move on to item 6, or 5C, which is our CDBG's public hearing. So, who wants to go first from CDBG?
I'll go first.
Good evening. My name is Martha Phillips. I'm a Board of Director member at Samaritan House.
What was your first name? I'm sorry.
Martha.
Martha. Hi, Martha.
And a note from Kathy, our director. It's been a very busy year at Samaritan House. Over the past several months, we've seen 35% increase in requests for help. With the rising cost of just about everything, it deeply impacts our low-income clients. Because of the generosity of our community, we're able to continue to meet their needs. This mission takes shape in our work of fighting hunger and building bridges to stability for at-risk families. We've served the residents of Bruce Township since 1995. The following are some specifics of help we provided to Bruce Township residents this past 2024 year. We provided food assistance to 44 families, spending $12,704. In addition, $618 was spent to help 2 families avoid eviction, and $1,529 to avoid utility shutoff for 3 families. We distributed Easter food boxes to 18 families, along with a $25 gift card to purchase the meat of their choice. At Thanksgiving, food boxes, along with the $25 gift card to purchase a turkey, we provided to 23 families. Our kids' summer food program supplied 28 families with an additional $50 gift card while the children were home from school for the months of June, July, and August. Our backpack programs supplied a backpack and supplies to 20 children, and 3 children benefited with new boots and coats through our boot and coat program. We also deliver groceries to the homebound, and we have 3 families in Bruce Township that we cover with our homebound deliveries. We asked you grant our request for the Community Development Block Grant funds. We will steward these funds and continue our work of serving your constituents who are at risk of hunger, eviction, and utility shutoffs. Thank you for your consideration of our requests.
Thank you, Martha.
Thank you.
Who's next?
Some information, if I could approach and pass it out or hand it.
Sure. Yeah. From Interfaith? Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sheila McCann. I am the volunteer coordinator with Interfaith Volunteer Caregivers. Interfaith Volunteer Caregivers serves low-income seniors and adults with disabilities. For over 30 years, our organization has been providing free basic assistance to hundreds of frail, older, and physically challenged adults, helping them remain safely in their homes with the help of hundreds of volunteers. This assistance has been helping older and disabled adults with transportation, chores, respite breaks, errands, and loneliness. These opportunities provide fulfilling experiences for those who wish to volunteer, as well as those who are in need. With the number of older adults in Macomb County rapidly increasing, the need for support services is growing dramatically and will continue to do so in the future. The CDBG Safe at Home project of IVC is a part of our larger chore and repair program for older and disabled adults. The project was developed to provide additional chore and repair services in communities that allocate funding for this purpose. Safe at Home allows us to assist low to moderate income seniors and physically challenged adults with indoor and outdoor chores, minor home repairs, and routine housekeeping. We identify those individuals who cannot do these tasks on their own and have limited resources and prioritize those with the greatest need. We are requesting the CDBG funds to increase the number of low-income citizens we can reach, to grow our program, as well to coordinate the volunteers who do these services. IVC provides almost 20,000 hours of help over all its services to nearly 500 people in need each year. Some examples of help that we provide through the Safe at Home project have been replacing locks, washing windows, raking leaves, routine housekeeping, and installing smoke alarms. With CDBG funding, this project can continue to grow, and assistance may be granted to provide a variety of lower-income Bruce Township senior citizens and disabled adults. We just want to thank you for your consideration. Any dollar amount granted is very appreciative. We hope to continue to partner with you going forward. If anyone here tonight knows of any seniors who might need our services or could use some assistance, or if anyone is looking to give the gift of time as a volunteer, please give us a call at our office at 586-757-5551, or you can reach us on our website, which is www.ivcinfo.org. And I would love to take any questions you might have.
Anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good work. Is there anybody else here for the CBGs? If not, there's a public hearing, so we will open up for a public hearing. A motion to open up at 6:42 p.m. Now's the time. If there's anybody in the audience or any residents want to go ahead and make a comment regarding CDBGs, now's your time. Go ahead and motion to close the public hearing at 6:43 p.m. You can take a vote. Can we get it all in favor?
Support.
Support.
Support. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, thank you very much for that. So you guys have breakdowns, kind of something we do every year. We have so much funds that we have available to us. We got kind of a requested amount, and then we've also got a recommended amount on your sheet. If anybody's got any suggestions, or if we want to go ahead and follow the guidelines of what we have on here listed, we can go ahead move along with it. No?
I'm good with it.
Pardon me?
I'm good with it.
I'll make a motion to, we have to get approval per
Well, that's what you did last year, but.
each one, or can we do them all together? We did it last year individually.
You did it last year, yeah, individually.
You can do it as presented, no?
I would think so.
Provide a sheet.
Oh, we had to list the amounts maybe publicly?
I'll make a motion.
There you go.
I'll make a motion to support the CDBG for a total of $5,908.
Oh, that's, no.
No, that's
4,000.
the
That's what,
recommended.
I'm sorry, $4,808.
800. Right here, Frank, turn that
Where's
page
it
over.
at?
Yeah, right there, in your left hand, right there in the back.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see it on the back, I'm sorry. $4,850. $1,000 to the care house, $250 for interfaith volunteer caregivers, $1,800 to McCrest, and Samaritan House, $1,800 as well.
Support. And I have one issue. I mean, we have Interfaith here, we had Samaritan House here, but we didn't get anybody from Care House or from McCrest. I know those are two big, really nice organizations. I mean, I don't know, why can't we give Interfaith a little bit more, just because, I mean, the fact that she is here and she is presenting, and they do help our seniors out locally. I mean, is there any way we can make an amendment to that possibly, and just maybe take a little bit from Care House, maybe another $250, give her $500, and give Care House
Did you look at the amount? Some of them want certain amounts, and they,
Right.
Right, it's right next to the requested amount and then the recommended,
Right.
right? Is that what you're saying?
So we're falling
So was
under
that
that
the amount
amount.
of funds total that we were allocated, Mike?
4,850.
Okay, so that's all we have to work with.
Right, so we can split it up any way we want, so,
I'm good with that.
such a motion.
Right.
yeah, we can.
Amend it.
Amend the motion. Are you suggesting giving Interfaith the full amount, or were you?
I say at least bump it, they're requesting 318, but I say
Right.
we can move it to 500 and then Care House, instead of 1,000, it would be 250 less, which would be 750 to Care House. And the other ones would stay the same.
And Interfaith would go to 500, you said?
Correct.
So I'll amend my motion, $750 to Care House, $500 to Interfaith Volunteer Caregivers, $1,800 to McCrest, $1,800 to Samaritan House, for a total of $4,850.
Second.
Support by Zokowitz. If there's no other discussion, can we get a roll call, please?
DeGiorgio?
Yes?
Capelowitz? Yes. Benson?
Yes.
Philbrook?
Yes.
Kraft?
Yeah.
Motion carries. Thank you very much, and appreciate you guys for coming out and all you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to new business, which is our unfinished business, item 7A, which is Civic Plus. We have a new proposal, I think you submitted, Susan.
Yeah, well, we've been spending some time with Civic Plus on the agendas and minutes aspect, but also the website. And I gave you some links to look at of the next step up. We have the premium plan right now, and this would be the ultimate package. The premium plan was kind of static, didn't give us it wasn't very interesting. And I thought our current website was better than this one. So when we're working with them and talking to them, trying to figure it out, she gave us some of these examples of the ultimate packet. I hope you had a chance to compare them.
Yeah. So we're looking at additional $1,100 a year to move from the premium package to the ultimate package, which I've seen
Yeah.
makes all the difference in the world as far as a website is concerned. And it's obviously the hardest thing is that the community and the residents, when they get on the website, having a hard time navigating anything we can simplify and make it better. I think it's definitely going to save us a lot of frustrations. We get a lot of complaints
Well, and the
currently.
premium was just a little too simplistic, I thought. It wasn't very
Yeah.
easy to
What do you think?
navigate or something.
Dave, I mean, this is kind of up your alley. What do you think?
I looked at the sites that were offered. I liked the way they looked.
The ultimate?
Yes,
Yes.
that was the links that you
Yeah.
sent. I looked
Yeah.
at each of the sites. I thought they looked well.
So what's the difference between the two as far as price, Susan, for the, is it on here?
To upgrade?
How much?
1,100 a year.
1,100 to upgrade a
Yeah.
year.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve the Civic Plus to get the ultimate plan. Did we have a motion last time? Did we amend anything? Didn't we have a motion for the ultimate? Or to up, why don't we just motion to go ahead and upgrade to the
Upgrade.
premium plan?
Yeah.
Support.
The premium package.
You want to upgrade to the ultimate, isn't that
Yes,
correct?
correct. We have premium, we want to upgrade to
Ult-
ultimate.
Sorry, backwards.
Yeah.
Change that back around. Upgrade to the ultimate package.
Support.
Support by DeGiorgio. There's no other discussion. Can we get a roll call, please?
Philbrook?
Yes.
Kraft?
Yes.
DeGiorgio?
Yes.
Capelowitz? Yes.
Wait, I forgot.
Yes.
I forgot those stubs.
So the other item is they will transfer a lot of what we have already in our documents on demand, but not all of our meetings. And it makes sense to be able to access everything. For additional $2,500, they will move those other 500 meetings onto this website as well. $200 per 50 meetings to migrate them to the new website.
They're going to migrate
So it would be.
500, you're saying?
Yes, it would, well, an additional, they move so many, but I can't remember what the number is or how many we have, but it would be, she counted and there'd be an additional 500.
Well, it looks like she's going to move everything that does after 2019, so for the last 5 years or 6 years. And they're looking to move the
Everything that's on
2002 to
the site,
2019.
the website now.
I mean, it's all be in one location, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
It'll be all on our website?
Is that that's a one-time charge?
Yes.
Motion to go ahead and approve to have them move everything to our website, have all our meetings located at one location, easily accessed by our residents of our community.
Support.
Support by DeGiorgio. There's no other discussion. Can we get a roll call? Roxanne, please.
Kraft?
Yes.
Philbrook?
Yes.
Sockowitz? Yes. Vincent?
Yes.
DeGiorgio?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Move on, item 7B, under unfinished business is the pay stubs, which should.
Yeah, Frank asked about this last time. I said give an update. I wrote up a summary here, an update. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them, but you can see on the back side is what the request was for the motions for the pay stubs we're supposed to include, and they're all included now in the pay stub. So.
Yep, and then we did take a look, and everything has been added accordingly, so.
So glad you approve.
No other questions? No, there's no motion.
Nope.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going to move on,
I don't understand why it took so long.
item
You can
8A
ask the
under.
question, Frank, instead of mumbling it. I'm
No, I
happy-
said I don't have a hard time understanding why it took so long. This was something that was very simple, because back in January, or June or July, when the motion was made, I contacted DNM myself, and they said that the program is in place, all has to be done is added.
Well,
And-
right away, there were 2 things added, but the part of this was a little more complicated, and Rhonda worked with Steve when there are spreadsheets that were available the whole time.
Right, but,
So-
okay.
All right, we'll move on.
Anyway, thank you for doing that.
Item 8A under new business is the delaying accessory building for an SLU under parcel 14-0107-100-014.
Hi, I'm Dave DeLang, address 78505 Pearl Drive.
David, how are you?
Good.
Mr. Vincent, you want to go ahead and take this one?
Sure. You have a packet in our, I should say you have a document in the packet that we received that covers this special land use very well. Mr. DeLang came before the Planning Commission at our last meeting. We reviewed all of the documents that he had included, had some discussion, and ended up approving the special land use on a 7-0 vote. Basically, he is asking for a special land use to place a shed located on a gravel bed. According to our zoning, this is technically in the front yard, although if you look at the drawing that he's included, it is physically behind his house. It's just the way his house is situated on the property, and the fact that because of the way the road is and the property, the corner of the shed will be closer to the street than his house is. Although if you look at how the house is situated, it ends up being behind. So the Planning Commission voted 7-0 to approve the land use, and I would make a motion to that, a motion to approve the special land use for parcel ID 1401-07100-014 at 78505 Pearl Drive, to approve a 14 by 24, 336 square foot non-permanent structure to be located in the front yard. The rationale is a hardship due to the topography of his land. The structure has very low to no visibility from the street. The structure will be technically behind the house and closer to the road, but due to the angle of the street, dimensions of the property, it's actually behind his house. And also the rationale that the Planning Commission approved it 7-0.
Support.
Support by Kraft. Does anybody have any questions for the applicant or for David? No? Not, can we get a roll call for approval, please?
Sokovic? Yes. Vincent?
Yes.
Philbrook?
Yes.
Kraft? Yes. DeGiorgio?
Yes.
That wasn't so bad, huh? Thanks for coming out, appreciate it. And you're great, you put together a great package, thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Really nice job.
Also, I want to follow up, I was in here for the gypsy moths back in 2001 to get sprayed, and that was very effective, so appreciate the support from the board on that.
You're welcome. Thank the residents, they all had to pay for it too, so, yeah, thanks. All right, Mr. Billing. Okay, we'll move on to item 8B under new business, which is our Lombardo rezoning request for Van Dyke and Mellon Street, and Cosmo Lombardo's here.
I have a question, a procedural question on this one. And I don't think David was on the, on planning at the time, but I was researching this, I went back to August, and there was conversation about holding off on rezoning until the master plan was done. And
Yeah, but I don't know the exact reason that they got through, maybe Dave can answer that, but,
I don't have any information on that. There was no discussion about, I did attend the meeting, and they talked about, I don't know that it was this application, but they talked about, I think it was,
it was probably the Walker, Mr.
I think it
Walker's.
was Walker.
Because I know he agreed to hold off, but he was told that that was going to happen. So I was just a little confused why that's being held and this one isn't.
this is not, I mean, technically, this is being developed under what is currently zoned. The only thing that we're doing is we're removing some of the commercial and turning it into residential, which is currently zoned under the current zoning there, which is R1B. We're not adding, changing the zoning, anything at all as regards to the master plan as far as what was requested prior. So technically, it's being developed as of what's currently zoned. If it wasn't for the commercial property being rezoned into the residential, there would be no reason for the applicant to even come here. You can just go and submit for a permit.
It sounded to me like everything rezoning-wise was going to be held. Did everybody get this letter from Derek Lies?
Do you want to read it?
No, I thought we didn't read the letters.
We can read the letters. I mean,
So now we're changing our policy? You
I
wanted
thought
to?
if they weren't signed, we weren't reading them, but I mean, it doesn't matter to me. We can read them.
To me, I think you want to.
I don't mind reading them. Anyways, there's a lot of moving parts here. I got a few things. Obviously, we had some residents in the community speaking. This has been going on since May of 2024. This has been in front of the Planning Commission. I'm kind of lost track, but I think that there's already been 4 public hearings regarding this matter. This matter has been rejected or been turned down by the Planning Commission and also the board 2 prior times. We've had public hearings to listen to what the residents and the neighbors feel and they would like to see in that area. Again, like I said, the way that it is being presented right now is currently being presented at what is currently zoned at R1B in the density as far as the houses are concerned. If it wasn't for the little bit of commercial that is kind of landlocked property that's in the back, which is a higher impact on the community, to keep the commercial instead of turning it into residential, he's looking to move some of that residential into the, or some of that commercial into the residential. So what he's currently proposing is exactly what's zoned there. And this has been after a lot of going back and forth, a lot of denials, and the applicant working very hard with not only the township, but trying to work with the residents. So I've got a letter from a resident in the community which doesn't understand that this has been going on since May, that doesn't understand that this has been, that we've had 4 public hearings already also. But I will read that.
I don't want to read it. Let's stick to the policy says you shouldn't read, so.
We have policy that says it?
Yeah, that happened 3-4 years ago, I think.
Can I have somebody come in here and read it? So before I want to move on, I'd like to make a comment just to try to clear up some, issues regarding this whole proposal, because it just seems that this is not something that just came overnight. This is something we've been working on very hard with, meeting, with the people and trying to work with the applicant. But just want to provide some clarification. and that there has been 4 public hearings and 2 prior rezoning requests under this proposal. So there's 23.19 acres total that lie between Van Dyke and Mellon Street from Sheena's Grocery to Kading. 11.9 acres are zoned commercial, some of which front onto Van Dyke. The easterly property lines of the commercial parcels are irregular, and 2 of the parcels are landlocked and have no direct access to Van Dyke or Mellon Street. 11.29 acres are zoned R1B residential, most of which front onto Mellon Street. However, one of the residential parcels is landlocked and has no direct access to either Van Dyke or Mellon. The current zoning classifications have been in place for over 50 years, meaning the R1B. The entire 23.19 acres is the central planning area in the Township's master plan, which specifies that single-family residential in this district shall be mid to higher density. This can be found on pages 7-5 of the master plan. Again, this has been in place for decades and is reflected on both the current zoning map as well as the future land use. The decades-old plan for the township is that the larger lot sizes and more rural, residential, and agricultural zoning is located outside of the central planning area, primarily to the north and to the west. Under this zoning ordinance, the R1B classification is mid-density residential. The minimum lot size for R1B is 20,000 square feet, or just about a half an acre. The minimum lot width is 100 feet wide, and the maximum lot coverage is 25%. Basically, this can be found on pages 3-11 of the ordinance. No change at all in rate. Single ownership, approximately 14 to 15 houses could be built on the current R1B property, and they would have ingress and egress only onto Mellon Street. The landlocked commercial properties would butt directly up to the homes, and the commercial would also butt up to some of the existing homes on Kading Street. The proposal before us is 28 single-family homes, not traditional condominiums. These will be brick-sided with side entry garages and will meet all of the R1B zoning requirements. The commercial property will be zoned C2 commercial as defined by our ordinance. In order to achieve this plan, a developer is requesting that 6.4 acres of the commercial property be rezoned to R1B. Is the same as existing zoning around, residential zoning around there. This would leave 5.4 acres of commercial property that would still front Van Dyke directly. This proposal eliminates all the landlocked parcels along with the complications that it would bring. It also preserves the plan for commercial development on this section of Van Dyke and will abut the existing shopping center. Developer is also offering multiple conditions, mostly importantly that this plan allows for ingress and egress road directly onto Van Dyke only with no vehicle access off onto Mellon Street. During multiple public hearings, this was stated at request of Mellon Street residents that they did not want to see the traffic and access traffic onto Mellon Street. And he also rehab or demolish the old MX Energy building. To sum it up, there's no increase in residential density as the residential part of this proposal is consistent with the existing zoning ordinance and master plan. The proposal also preserves the planned commercial property fronting onto Van Dyke. I mean, basically, it's kind of in a nutshell. I mean, he's developing it according to what it is. These are going to be 2,200 square foot houses on colonials and 2,700 square foot ranches. They're going to be bricks on 4-sided. These are not a low quality housing. I think it's in some of the conditions, but sorry for taking up your time. But there's a lot, I've been hearing a lot about this. The township has a request to rezone a piece of property. We cannot deny that request to rezone a piece of property, especially if it's being rezoned according to what is on our master plan currently. And that's what was being done here. So, but we cannot deny that. And similarly, if we deny it, then we're going to end up in court and it'll be a consent judgment by a judge. And we may end up with something that's similar to the property next door to the north, where the properties are 8,000 square feet instead of 20,000 square feet. So working with the developer and the people around there, this is the best that we could come up with.
So Mike, are you saying the rezoning is just going to be this section of C1, it's going from C1 to R1B, which is currently zoned R1B in the back? C2 is staying the same.
C2 is going to stay the same. It's still 5.4
R1B is staying
acres.
where it's at. So it's just that corner section that's being
Yeah, that,
rezoned. C1?
I think part of that C2 is going to become R1B. All of the
So this
C1 will
map
be
here-
gone, correct?
Yeah.
C,
And a portion of it.
And that small piece of C1 is next door to the homes on Mellon Street.
And what can be put in C1?
2 houses.
Is it housing or, so two
No,
houses on
C1.
one lot? Or what is the C1 zoning, I guess?
C1 zoning would be like a drugstore, or,
Right.
Yeah.
So it could, that's what it's zoned for right now.
Correct. Not
It's
a
gonna be
shopping
changed
center, a
into
small
housing,
individual.
As opposed
Correct.
to,
Right.
which abuts Kading.
Yes.
I think they would.
The house
prefer to
is
have
next
that.
door on Kading, yes.
Sure.
I don't know if you remember, not too long ago, there was a proposal to go ahead and develop that into 6 multifamily housing. I think it was knocked down to 4, but they want to put multifamily
Is that
housing on that
allowable in
project.
that C1 zoning currently?
No, he was trying to get a
He was
rezoning,
trying to get
or
a
a
rezone.
special land use, I think it might have been.
So on the one page here, it says 27 units, and then I thought I also saw 28. Do we know how many maximum residential units we're talking about?
Cosmo, it's
Yeah,
28.
this one, this says 28, and this says 27.
27
The
total.
planner just misread our plans. It's 28 total. There's 26 in the private road that we built off
Kading.
So total.
26, and then the bulk here right here.
Yeah, so 26 in the unit
Yeah.
with the street, and then the ones off Kading would be
Right.
bringing it up to 28.
I mean, this is direct, I mean, Hillside Estates is directly across the street. I know that's a similar condominium complex over there. You live in Hillside?
No.
Those are 16,000 square foot lots, if you want to get an idea what it looks like. The developer's proposing 4,000 square feet more per lot on this development here is what has been done and what was allowed across the street. So he's looking at 20,000 square feet.
And did you address the water or the sewer issue? Is that something that, what happens if there's no capacity and now they have to put in septic fields? They have to go back to planning to redesign
Yeah, that would be through
them?
engineering, it would be a different phase, but yeah, we would have to look at, right now, currently, we still have 210,000 gallons a day on an average that we're not utilizing with our contractual amount from the Village of Romeo. And this is considered to be on wells currently, so,
Well and septic.
well and sanitary, no, well and
so-
cities.
well
Yeah,
and
it
sewer,
is our
okay,
sewer
sorry.
district. Right.
Well and sewer.
But I'm going to turn this over to Dave, the liaison with the Planning Commission. So Dave, if you want to go ahead and take it from here.
Okay. The Planning Commission did review this again. We think that this is a very good use of the land. All the comments were positive that we had. It is consistent with the current R1B zoning. It is consistent or even larger lots than what is all around it. So I will make a motion on this to approve the Lombardo rezoning request dated January 21st, 2025, which includes lots 14, 01, 35, 101, -011, -023, -025, -028, -029, -035, and -051. Currently, these parcels total 23.19 acres with 11.9 zoned C1 or C2, and the balance is R1B. If approved, the site would have 5.486 acres of C2 and 16.103 acres of R1B, and an additional 1.601 R1B an additional 1.6 acre R1B parcel subject to the same conditions. That's the C1 piece that is currently on the corner of Kading and Van Dyke. So the conditions of the rezoning include that the development is consistent with the depiction submitted on January 21st, 2025, a maximum of 28 home sites to be built, no road access to Mellon Street, that it contains a landscape berm between the C2 and residential development to be built during the development phase, that the homes built have a minimum of a 22-foot by 22-foot side entry garage. There are brick on 4 sides of the first floor. Minimum size for ranches are 2,200 square feet. Minimum size for colonials, 2,750 square feet. That this property shall be allowed to use a 30-foot right-of-way for the internal road in lieu of a 60-foot right-of-way. The road width and pavement cross-section shall be consistent with Macomb County Road Commissioner requirements. And also that the building on the C2 piece of property will be rehabbed or removed within 24 months. The rationale for this motion is that it is consistent with the land use in the surrounding area. It represents no increase in density and is consistent with R1B zoning. It combines 7 separate lots with 3 different zonings into an R1B residential development of about 17.07 acres and a C2 development of about 5.486 acres. This rezoning cleans up overlapping zoning lines. It allows road access only off of Van Dyke, and it eliminates 3 landlocked pieces of property that are contained in there.
That was a motion with the conditions, right? I'll second that motion. Anybody have any questions for David or for Mr. Lombardo?
No, I don't.
Cosmo, do you have anything you want to say?
No, Mike, I think you did a good job covering the
There's no other discussion. May we get a roll call, please, Roxanne?
DeGiorgio,
Yes.
Bakowitz,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Philbrook,
Yes.
Kraft.
Yes.
Motion carries. Cosmo, thank you for working with us for so long.
Thank you.
Community. Dave, thanks for all you put into it. Appreciate it. Move on. To item 7D, which is, 7D, which is our statewide Taft LLC parcel ID 14-01-29-100-029. Dave, that was in front of you guys also, David.
It was. So according to this, we're doing the Taft Road first. There are 2 by the same developer on this. So this came before the Planning Commission as a condo site plan. It is a little more complicated of a way to do a land split, but I understood from the petitioner that there were no land splits available, so that was the reason for making this piece into basically a 2-unit site condo development. So it's really just a single piece of property that's going to be divided. There's going to be 2 houses on this piece of property. This first one that is before us is, you can see the picture, is primarily on Taft Road with a tiny piece that has Fisher Road access as well. The rezoning or reclassification of this property as a site condo is consistent with R1 zoning. It is not out of the ordinary. There's, nothing that's trying to get around any requirements here. This is just the only way this property can be split at this time.
Is that because that property had been split in the past?
That's
So
what my
they were-
understanding was, because that was
splits
my
were used up?
question to the petitioner, like, this seems like a
Yeah.
really, really complicated way to split these.
And that little piece that's coming off the facing, is that facing Taft Road, you said? That little extension is,
So the whole bottom side of this picture is Taft, and on the right side, you see a tiny section that is on Fisher.
Fisher.
Across the street is a cemetery, I believe, and then there's some residential property across the street.
So the mother parcel was split into its maximum amount of splittable parcels, including the two parcels we have in front of us right now. Through the state of Michigan's Land Division Act, that this is a way that they were able to get it through a condominium process, and they're not going to put a road in. We're looking at splitting the 10 acres into two 5-acre parcels, and it is kind of a loophole that the developer did find out. It's not like we're splitting them into smaller lots. I mean, still we got 5-acre parcel of land. It's going to be, both driveways are going to be coming in off of Taft Road.
Only one's going to be 5 acres.
Let's see,
Yeah, on this one piece will be 5.8, and the other piece will be 3.064.
oh, excuse me on that. How's the 10 acres get divided down, drop? Yeah, I think it's
That's a typo?
5.064 acres. The original piece is 10.8 acres, and if you divide, 10 point, so it's supposed to be 5.06. Let me make sure we got it somewhere else, maybe.
Yeah, I got that out of,
Kim, I think it's 2 5s. Pretty sure, yeah.
Well, that little stretch that goes to Fisher.
that'll be part of one of the parcels? Yeah.
yes. I know I picked up those numbers from somewhere. I got it out of my
Yeah,
board,
zoning
my
out
planning
there.
commission pack, so.
Yeah.
The zoning is 5-acre minimum?
No, zoning out there's 1 to 2 acre parcels.
Gotcha.
That would be the minimum, but this is 2 5s. There are bigger parcels out there. I think Kim herself lives on 20, right? Yeah. Did you make?
Because it's a site condo, are they going to have to follow associations, have an HOA for 2 parcels?
It's kind of.
They submitted the documents with the names of both of the developments, yeah.
But there won't be any road, obviously.
There's no road.
No front off.
No, there will be no community property like is traditional in a condo association. So it's just basically a straight land split.
Yeah.
Are you aware of any other parcels that are kind of going to be subject to something like this going forward?
That's it.
The next one.
The next one, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
The
if
next
there are
one on our
larger
agenda on 34
Tracts
Mile.
of property that maybe have their maximum number of splits and now,
I'm not
opening the
aware
door
of any.
to-
I'm too new at this.
Great question, though, thank you.
What was that?
I was just wondering if there was other
That's my
larger.
question. If he doesn't sell these 2 5-acre plots, is there anything keeping him from going back and splitting it more?
The width to depth ratio would probably stop them. I don't think they have the width anymore.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Did you put a motion? Was there a motion?
I did not, but I will.
I'll make a motion. Motion to approve the statewide Taft LLC parcel ID 140129100-29, is that correct?
029 on this one.
Dash 029.
Support.
Moved by DeGiorgio. We have no other discussion. Can we get?
So we had some conditions that went along with this that should probably be included in the
I
motion.
didn't know that. I'm sorry.
So
They added conditions. I'm going to.
yeah, so it's Christina's Crossing is the name of this site condo development. The conditions are that the development will pay into the sidewalk fund. That the development is subject to the requirements for street trees. Further, driveways and buildings will comply with applicable township ordinances. The buildings are to be located within the building envelope. and it is subject to the resolution of questions raised by the attorney, which had to do with the master deed and Form B of the condominium subdivision plan be reviewed by the township planner, the legal description in Form B of the condominium subdivision plan be reviewed by the township engineer for accuracy, and that Section 8, that Section 8 easements of paragraph 8.3 governmental units be revised to provide the township right to access the property if necessary for utility purposes. The attorney included those matters. So it's consistent with surrounding zoning. It established the establishment of the site condo is essentially a land split. The site condo development is a permitted land use in R1 district. Both lots meet the requirements of the R1 district, and the Planning Commission approved it 7-0.
A lot of conditions. Make sure that Roxanne gets some copies of both.
She'll get a copy.
Okay, so there you have it. If there's no other discussion, can we get a roll call, please?
Vincent?
Yes.
Philbrook?
Yes.
Crab?
Yes.
Sockowitz?
Yes.
DeGiorgio?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Giorgio.
Oh, I didn't hear
Who?
it, sorry.
Frank did, right?
Did you get a second on that motion?
Frank?
Yeah.
Frank?
Yeah.
I didn't hear.
Yep.
Can move on item 7, our AD statewide Taft LLC parcel ID 14-01-29-100-031, south side of 34 Mile Road across from Improvement Grounds. Dave, go ahead.
So this is essentially the same. This is a 20-acre piece of property that will be subdivided or developed, into a site condo called the Hills of 34 Mile Road. It will be 2 units that are, I believe, 10.02 acres each. It's identical to the other one. It meets all the conditional uses in an R1 zoning. This one, although it will have a condition of street trees, the whole front of the property is heavily wooded, so street trees aren't going to be an issue there. It's essentially just splitting this piece of property into 2 pieces.
These are the same conditions, if I'm not mistaken.
They're all the same conditions, yep.
Okay, I'm gonna have you make the motion and then with including the conditions.
Okay. And so these came from the Planning Commission. They obviously have a lot more experience at this than I do, so I'm just working off of what they did in their motion to approve. So I make a motion to approve the Hills of 34 Mile as a site condo development. This is parcel ID 14-01-29-100-031. Under the conditions that the development will pay into the sidewalk fund, the development is subject to requirements for street trees. Future driveways and buildings will comply with applicable township ordinances. Buildings are to be located within the building envelope, and that it's also subject to the resolution of the questions raised by the attorney. The master deed and Form B of the condominium subdivision plan will be reviewed by the township planner. The legal description in Form B of the condo subdivision plan will be reviewed by the township engineer for accuracy. That Section 8 easements, paragraph 8.3 governmental units be revised to provide the township right to access the property if necessary for utilities. And this is the rationale that this is consistent with surrounding zoning. The establishment of this site condo is essentially a land split. The site condo development is a permitted land use under an R1 district. Both sites will be 10.2 acres. Both lots meet the dimensional requirements of the R1 district, and this also passed the zoning commission 7-0.
I'll support. Anybody, you have any questions for David? Can we get a roll call, Roxanne, please?
Sockowitz?
Yes.
Benson?
Yes.
DeGiorgio?
Yes.
Kraft?
Yes.
Philbrook?
Yes. Motion carries. Thanks, Dave. Make sure that Roxanne gets some copies.
I will.
Okay. Move on to item 7G, Planning Commission's annual report. So every other commission has, the Planning Commission by statute has to submit a rendering of the annual report to the Township Board. Basically including any kind of recommendations regarding action of the Township Board relating to planning and development. Said report shall be presented by the third meeting of each year concerning the Commission's activities from the previous year. So basically, there's no motion other than we're going to make a accept and receive. Has everybody had an opportunity to look at the annual report for 2024? Is there any changes they would like to make or suggest? If not, I will approve to receive and file in our February 19, 2025 meeting.
Support.
I don't think there's any action. So. Thanks, Planning Commission.
Last year we had to,
It's just basically, it's just to receive and file.
okay.
We can, if you want to do it formally,
Just following Tremblay's lead.
we can go ahead, we got a motion. Doesn't hurt. Can't hurt, right?
Right.
Okay, a motion to approve the annual report as presented for 2024 by the Planning Commission, support by Giorgio, and just a roll call would be great.
Benson?
Yes.
Sockowitz?
Yes.
DeGiorgio?
Yes.
Kraft?
Yes.
Philbrook?
Yes, motion carries. On item 8H, set the public hearing for the 2025-2026 general fire ALS improvement revolving budgets. Set the public hearing for March 19th at 6 p.m. This is not a special meeting, is it? We have the regular board meeting.
So it can be our regular.
So March 19th at 6 p.m. On
Do
item
you want to say at the town hall? This doesn't matter. Never mind, sorry.
Township board meeting, here at the town hall, or Township Hall. Line item 8I is our elected officials' pay increase for 2026. Is there any discussion or any motion on that? We have to make a motion for a 3% increase for the elected officials' pay increase. Any support?
Support.
Support by Giorgio. Is there any other discussion? Now, can we get a roll call, please?
DeGiorgio?
Yes.
Sockowitz?
No.
Benson?
Yes.
Philbrook?
Yes.
Kraft?
No.
Motion carries, voted 3-2. Move on to item 8J, which is our building department new hire. So obviously, we'll put a little bit on that. We have a position, a full-time position, so a part-time position open up in the planning and zoning department. We do have currently one employee that does work full-time, but she works 2 days in planning and zoning and 2 days in building, 2 days in building and 2 days in assessing. She wanted to make a lateral transfer to go from building and take the position of 2 days in planning and zoning and 2 days in assessing.
Which is her contractual right.
Right, as far as the agreement is concerned, which opens up a spot for part-time in our building department. We did put it out on our website for applications. We did receive a total of 4 applications. We interviewed all 4 applicants. All 4 applicants were really good people. I don't think any of them really had technically much experience in the building department itself, but they were all qualified applications. We did have one application, Robin, which is here in the audience tonight, that does currently work as an intern in the treasurer's department right now. She is a student. We are looking, we do have her application in front of us. We are looking to possibly bring her into the part-time position in the building department as an intern, which would have to fall under her guidelines of what's a student, which is a maximum not to exceed 24 hours a week. And the hours would be technically right now from 9 to 1, 4 days a week, which is 16 hours. But you said your schedule's a little bit flexible. Am I missing out on anything there, Frank? Or?
No, and with contract talks coming up with the TPOAM, things could change with classifications or rotation of employees doing various different jobs. And there's a couple programs processes that I'm looking into regarding billing and tax collections that will be efficient, more efficient than we're currently doing right now. So therefore, after discussing, we should probably just hire as an intern until we're done with the TPOAM negotiations, and then make a decision whether we hire somebody part-time or full-time.
So you're looking for something other than BSNA?
No, it's still going to be BSNA. I'm not.
So I'm confused now. You're saying you're not going to fill this position?
We're going to fill it, but it's going to be as an intern position.
Not a part-time, you're going to say it's an intern?
Yep, which is the same thing, really. The only difference is she's not going to get 5% of the 401, and she's not going to get a week's paid vacation.
I would just like to say that I think Robin has done a fabulous job, and she seemed to learn right on the spot and seemed to really enjoy herself in this wonderful company. And so any conversation we have is not a reflection on her. I'm just a little confused by all this. If we're going to train somebody for that position and we need someone in that position, I don't understand why you're going to do the intern, why we're shifting.
Well, we can possibly hire her as full-time once the TPOAM negotiations are through.
She's in school.
Well,
She's in school, but she goes to school remotely. She's already done with her junior year, and it's only October. She's a brilliant, intelligent young lady, and she knows what she's doing. She catches on fast, and her going to school shouldn't matter, again, because she works remotely. She does school remotely. Again, she's already done with her junior year. She's just waiting for the senior year to start, and she'll probably get that done in a couple months. That's how intelligent she is.
My only concern is, right now, in the building department, that person that's doing that job is trained and is able to help the senior person.
Right.
So there is going to be a lag in being able to help right away because there's no training. I mean, she's not going to be able to step in as far as knowing BSNA to do the building department.
She's already catching on to the BSNA in the treasurer's
Who's going to
office.
do the training, though? I guess that's my concern.
That would be our building department manager.
Between her and
But Lisa's already worked with her before she's even hired last week, so that's she's not the building manager.
No, we wanted her to sit down with Lisa before she would go away, just to kind of get, I mean, she had a little bit of free time in treasurer's department, so we sent her over there just to kind of get an idea, see what she thought of it. And Lisa said that she just sucked up information like she was a sponge. She picked up on things very rapidly. Again, I mean, there is going to be training no matter who you're going to bring in there. I mean, it's still going to need some training. It needs to be done. If nobody's going to be able to know
I just know
exactly.
building is going to be busy.
Yeah, very
with all
busy.
the building things that just got approved.
We
so-
had 4 applications, and not one of them actually came from another department.
Right.
That said that they, worked in, as a, so.
So the expectation is for Christine to do the training.
Not just Christine, because we're going to have Lisa Cross do a little bit of training before she gets moved over to planning and zoning. So, I don't want to leave the whole burden just on Christine. I
Did
think
anybody
it's just-
ask the attorneys about all this?
Yes, attorney said it was perfectly fine.
And insurance?
So the insurance said that basically that she can't be bonded, but again, I've heard that she can be bonded, so we'll work out the legal part of it, but it's still not an issue statutorily, we can still hire her.
And do we have a work permit? Or a work, is that what you call it?
You don't need it.
You don't need a work
We currently are using her as an intern.
But anytime they're employed, you have to have a work permit from schools.
Need a work permit, Robin?
Yes, I do have.
You do have one, okay.
So what is the
If you can, bring it in so we can put it on file, please.
What is the difference in requirements with an intern versus a permanent employee either full or part-time.
What are the requirements?
No, I guess, or obligations. So does an intern serve at the township's discretion? Or are they like a permanent employee that can only be let go for cause? Is this like an at-will employee as an intern? How does that work?
Well, I think as an intern, she's here for,
As I understand an internship, you're there in a learning environment for a prescribed amount of time, and at the end of your internship, then
you can either leave.
Go somewhere else.
Go somewhere else, or you can get hired if you're.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. So you're not technically an employee, you're an intern.
And you're an intern, correct.
Okay, so this has been changed from part-time to intern.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that
And again-
helpful to Christine?
Yeah, with no end date, basically.
Right.
And she also has to have the breaks and things like that that's required
Well,
by the
of
state.
course, you would get the same thing as a regular employee does, breaks and,
But these are a little different because they actually have to be recorded and she has to be supervised. There are times when she's in your office and nobody else is in there with her.
yeah, so what's wrong with that? There's times
There's a
when
law that says that she has to have supervision at all times.
I'm here before she gets here. And I'm here till she leaves. Wouldn't I be her supervisor?
But you have to be with her in the room. It
Where does it
says,
say that?
right here in the,
What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at you because you are so adamant, and she is absolutely a wonderful young lady.
Yeah, she is.
Lots of talent.
You know what? You're not on the board table here.
All right.
So
You
next
asked me a
time,
question, I answered it. Stop
Okay.
being a bully.
I'm not a
You
bully.
are a
No, I'm
bully.
not.
That's enough, let's just focus on what we're talking
You're
about.
something else, man.
So we have a student that we're looking at hiring part-time. I don't know what has turned it into such a dramatic.
It is.
well, it's because it's totally
She's
different
currently-
than what you have here.
She's currently working here right now at the township. We're very happy with her ability and what she, in her knowledge. I mean, she's a fast learner, she does a really good job, everybody really likes her. And I don't see no reason why we can't move forward and put her into a position that we have an opening for currently and that she applied for. So, and again, we've spoken with her parents are on board 100% with this. And they're both here actually right now.
When Christine, when the building department manager
Sarah's still here?
is
Sarah
on
left?
vacation, when she's on vacation, obviously she'll be gone all day. So this is only until 1 o'clock. If
Sweet.
there's other, I mean, is there,
Plus, she has to be supervised and Christine would be on vacation.
but I'm just saying, do we have something in place to cover that department, like for a week or 2 weeks if
So-
she's on vacation?
So she can work up to 24 hours a day with her being a student. That is the max amount of time that she can work. She's scheduled right now to do 16 hours a week, which is 4 4-hour days. There are going to be times when Christine may call in and would put in excess of another 4 hours on her schedule, which will give her 20 hours and still keep running at 24. And we will have to figure it out when Christine does go on vacation. Yeah, there's basically 35 hours it's going to put her over on her time, so. But again, we're hiring for part-time,
Right.
So with regard to the supervision that you have here, is it something like a continuous supervision?
Here's the, so she's not going to be, you're talking still about the building department, not treasury. So,
I guess as I read this, it doesn't say the supervisor has to be there. It just says the supervisor must ensure immediate assistance is available in case of emergency. I don't see that it says somebody has to be with her every minute, or with the intern in this case. But that,
And if she can't get bonded, does that just reflect on the taking of payments?
which gets,
Okay.
it gets counted almost on a daily basis.
No, I'm just saying. that could just
Yeah,
get-
balances
I think
every
that
night.
would have to get put aside until somebody could handle that.
The attorney basically says it doesn't matter if you're a student or if you're an adult, it could be the same way either way,
which attorney did you talk to?
Christine,
Why?
because I took it to Bob, and he just said it's a bad idea. So,
Well, Bob, it's kind of a bad idea about a lot of things, I think. I don't know. Why. All right.
I talked to Dustin too, and he said it's not a good idea. It's just not a reflection on her, but we had,
So she's
Five
working here
adult-
currently right now as an intern, so what's the difference? I'm just asking, what's the difference?
I don't know what you're doing here, Mike, because
What are you asking about? What'd you say about 5? There's 5 what?
there are 5 applicants altogether, I think, 5 or 6. So,
We had 4. I think 4 or
I've got
5. Well, one of them got a job. So we didn't, Jody got a job.
So if we do this as an internship, do we have to define it? Like put some kind of an ending date on it?
No.
At the completion of her, high school education?
Yeah, if you want to
that,
put that on,
that she
you
can
can.
be, then considered as an employee. I don't know what the requirements are for an internship. So I'm just a little bit lost with regard to that.
I don't know if we've ever done internships.
We're
So
doing
we-
one right now.
Right, but I'm just saying this is new, so.
And, well, if
They
you-
have
if
2
you-
at, they got 2 of them at Lennox. It's not like an uncommon
Right.
thing to have students
That's
working at
the
the
school,
township.
that's a little different. It's
It's,
more
I
regimented.
don't understand what's so different,
Part of it, Mike, is that she will probably go away in a couple of years, so.
Oh, my gosh, well, we don't know that
Probably
with
will, but
anybody.
we've
How are you
had-
going to guarantee it? Just, to me, you're going to, no
I
matter
just worry
what.
about Christine, she needs
We've
help.
had 7 people go away in the clerk's office in the last year and a half. I mean, yeah, there's always a possibility somebody's going to leave.
I don't think that there's anything that we're going to say that you're going to feel comfortable with,
Probably not.
to be honest with you.
So I make a motion that we hire Ms. Casper as an intern for the building department assistant, as an intern, until she completes her senior year, graduates high school.
Well, we do have one thing, you got to waive the requirement of having a high school diploma, because she doesn't have a high school diploma.
But you said you're not using this.
We're not using that, right, we're hiring as an intern, so that doesn't apply.
Getting around it somehow.
Well, we can, again, statutorily, according to what Christine says, since that is our requirement, is our job description. Again, you have your opportunity to vote,
I do indeed.
I just feel bad. I think it's, I support Frank's motion. And if we don't have any other discussion, can we please get a roll call, Roxanne?
Vincent,
Yes.
Sockowitz,
Yes.
DeGiorgio,
Yes.
Kraft,
No.
Philbrook.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you very much, Robin. Brandon, thanks for sticking it out. We'll move on to item 7K, the TPOM AM request to open negotiations. So as everybody's got in their board packet, a letter from the TPOM that they're looking to negotiate their contracts up in June, I think it is this year. Need to make that request within so many days, which we did receive that letter. Begin negotiations to amend the current collective bargaining agreement between Bruce Township and the above referenced above TPOM. So I think I've talked with a little bit with this. I make a motion to approve Dave, Vincent, and myself to go ahead and represent the employer to negotiate with the TPOM to amend the current contract, until which both parties will agree.
Support.
And starting on March 4th, I think we have some tentative dates, 4 p.m. Support by DeGiorgio. Dave, you were on board. Any discussion?
I am willing, yes.
If there's no other discussion, can we get a roll call, please?
Philbrook,
Yes.
DeGiorgio,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Sockowitz,
Yes.
Kraft.
Yes.
Move on to item 7L, which is our body and township vehicle cameras. Again, I thought that this is something that we would be looking at. I still don't have any information to bring to the board. There was a letter from our attorney that didn't think that was a very good idea. Susan, you want to share that with us?
No, we're not, this is privileged, so that's why I made sure everybody got it and could read it ahead of time.
So primarily, he doesn't think it's a good idea because he feels it's a liability issue. And a possibility of, what do you call it, invasion of privacy. And I hate to say it, but there's video cameras everywhere you go nowadays. I know that there's a strict policy that more than likely our local law enforcement has regarding their body cameras, but also we've had a couple instances that have taken place with our township employees where they've been out in the community, and it's been a he said, she said situation. If there were cameras that were involved, I think it would have taken the whole, guesswork out of the whole situation, so that was why it was brought up. I think that it also would be looked at putting cameras on the two vehicles that are owned by the township, too. And there's no reason not to. I think it's just for our own good and for...
The attorney listed several reasons why not to, why it wouldn't be
If
good for the
it's
township.
so bad, why do other municipalities, why do all
Why do
law...
we pay an attorney and not listen to what he has to say?
I get it. I mean, I understand.
Do you not have proposals anyway, so?
I want to, look at it for the future, so we're not going to, no action on it tonight, but I think it's still something that needs to be looked at. I think it's good, I think it will protect the township, not hurt the township. Even the garbage man has cameras on their trucks, right, chief? Priority's got
You guys going to be using them too?
all kinds of video.
I have no idea if
The garbage man?
garbage man has
Well, Priority's got all kinds of
They got
video.
GPS, for sure.
All right, anyways, well,
So in reviewing the letter that we received, it sounds like there's a distinction between vehicle cameras and on-person cameras. So could this even in the future be separated? I mean, do you want vehicle cameras just for that? I mean, that's in public, so I don't think there's any, expectation of privacy when you're driving on a public road. So they could probably go on vehicles relatively soon if you wanted to do that. I think it's just putting them on a person that's going into a private space.
yeah, we gotta look at the...
It's got to be looked at.
Yeah, exactly, so I don't have anything right now.
Okay.
Okay, if you have any information you want to bring, that would be
So are
great.
you wanting to table it then?
Yeah, yeah. We'll move on to item 8M, like Michael, the sewer capacities.
I gave you the copy of the contract here, because you haven't seen it before.
Yes, I have.
Dorothy, I know you've worked with it, but I still gave you a copy for your files. These are flow charts from December and January that the village sent, just for your information. So I don't know, maybe you guys want to talk about where you stand on the meetings. Have you had a meeting recently?
So we've not had a meeting recently. We had multiple meetings with the Village of Romeo trying, so I guess in a nutshell, just kind of recap. So we did make a proposal, I did have proposals with the Village of Romeo in which I was looking for additional capacities for short-term and then also for long-term flows. I think short-term I was looking at about 130,000 more gallons a day with our long-term flow. I think I requested a total with the short-term and long-term of around 450,000 gallons a day additional to the 510,000 that we currently had. And this was after going through negotiations. Frank and I were in negotiations with them to try to figure out, get a price. They came back to us and said they would give us 100,000 gallons a day more additional to the 510 that we have for $1 million. That's what they wanted to charge us. That didn't include any service, that didn't include nothing, none of our percentages. It was basically $1 million just to say, here, you got another 100,000 gallons.
That was in the conversation with Christine, when Christine Malzahn was
That was back in the day. Was Christine or no, that was with Megan, wasn't it? When Megan came on.
Oh, look, Megan's here.
No, kid.
Who's here?
Megan.
You coming to be neighborly?
Oh, is Megan here?
Give us more sewer capacity?
So was that an offer from you guys, the $1 million, that when you were here, or was that during Christine's term? You might as well come on. I didn't know you were here.
If I recall correctly, there was discussions at both times.
Yeah.
led up to Christine, then I came in and there was more discussion right in coming into office. Yes, it was around that. Wasn't just $1 million for $1 million's sakes. There was reasoning and a lot of good information behind that. And you guys said you couldn't do it, which is fine. If you don't want the capacity, I just heard you guys talking about developers and say you had extra capacity. So where the village is at is we're wondering, does this board want capacity? We have a sewer subcommittee created because we've been told you wanted capacity, but then when we ask, well, what would you like? I don't know what you want. So I have a sewer subcommittee. They really aren't meeting with you. I don't know what you want. Just kind of want to know what the board would like from the Village of Romeo. Do you want capacity or do you not?
So so you have a committee that was formed, and there's 3 of you on your committee, I think at the time, if I wasn't mistaken, you, Justin Parker, and Ed, yourself, Justin Parker, and Ed.
Matt Edwards.
Matt Edwards.
Yeah.
We met, I have only 3 dates in front of me, but I know there was 2 prior dates, but we met June 24th at 6 p.m., August 13th at 6 p.m., and then October 7th at 6 p.m. We were lucky to get one of you guys to show up at the meeting.
Of which year?
For the sewer committee.
Yeah, but what year?
Last year, this past year, 24.
And if I pull my calendar out, I'm sure I can find maybe 2 or 3 other prior
There
meetings.
was a total of 6 meetings, correct.
And Frank and I both came there with all of our paperwork, with everything we had and needed in hand. We didn't get the same kind of response out of, basically, we got last minute calls like, oh, Matt Edwards can't make it or Justin can't make it. We met with one of you guys. And it just, after 6 meetings, we were nowhere different than where we were at from the first meeting. At the last meeting, the last 6 meeting, what the communication was is that you guys wanted us to get your sewer flows or what you needed for future capacities. That's something that HRC's already got and Mike McDonald has already done for you guys. That was where basically our last meeting was left off that you guys were supposed to go get what you needed for the Ford engine plant, what you might need for any of the other vacant land, and what you would still have maybe left over. And then you guys were going to call us and let us know that we can meet. Now we know what we have that we can go ahead and maybe sell to you guys or to maybe negotiate with, and we haven't heard back. Well, Justin actually called me about 2 weeks ago and asked me, what's going on, and I said, Justin, you don't remember the last meeting that we had, that you guys were going to go and have HRC do your flows and where you guys are at and what you need for future, and present it to us. We haven't heard nothing back.
Okay, so does Bruce Township want capacity, additional capacity?
Well, that's what we've been meeting about.
I've been meeting with the prior administration. This has been going on for over 3 years, and I still haven't gotten anywhere. I mean, I've put a chart together that shows what I need in long-term and short-term. We do only currently, we're running on an average of 300,000
And if I recall correctly, we gave you the offer, and you said no. So this is where I'm confused.
But
if you said no, do you want capacity?
We continued meeting after we said no, because what you were doing is telling us you wanted $1 million up front to recoup the cost of the money that you spent 10 years ago when you upgraded the plant, and Bruce Township also contributed to that amount. So you were trying to recoup that cost. And we said, we can't give you $1 million up front. Now, will we pay for your services that we use? Yes.
So when the plant was expanded, yes, Bruce Township paid for expansion.
Yeah.
And while Bruce paid for their portion of the expansion, Romeo said, well, it's cheaper when you do things all at the same time. Right. So we also expanded for our own sake. And now you would like that capacity that the village residents paid for.
We're not.
So yes, we're going to charge you for it.
We would pay for the services we use.
If the village would not have paid for that extra capacity and expanding, it wouldn't be there right now.
Okay.
So you do have to pay for that.
Bruce Township contributing to at the time. We did help.
More service.
Okay, so if Bruce Township would like capacity, could you please let us know how much you want?
We have.
This chart, if I look at a date on this chart or when I presented
Yes,
this,
and then when we met and we gave you a cost, you said no. So that is where I'm moving from. You said no, thank you, we can't do that.
Right, but then we met
So
6 times afterwards.
do you still want capacity?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so you think our numbers are going to change?
So you're saying $1 million, why didn't you just tell us that from the beginning? Because you guys call us back in, because when you told us $1 million, and then, I don't know, 6 months went by, and then you guys said, I don't know if it was a new administration, said that let's meet again, maybe $1 million. What do you guys want to pay is what you guys were asking us. So when we didn't have a number, we're not going to, obviously give you a number to sell to us or whatever. We're looking for you guys to make the decision, and we can negotiate.
But I'm also hearing you say that you have extra. Do you even
We
need
don't have extra.
capacity?
We currently have a contract with you guys for 510,000 gallons a day.
Correct.
If you look at our flow charts, on an average, we're running 300,000 gallons a day, which leaves us 210,000 gallons still contractually that we have to work with right now currently.
Correct.
But the board wants to we want to be proactive. We don't want to wait until a year goes by and it's like, hey, we're running out of sewer. Basically, since I started negotiating or trying to get additional capacities, it's been almost 4 years now that I've been working, trying to get additional.
And in those 4 years,
Oh,
the village has
this is
annexed
2021.
property. We have more responsibility. I can tell you off the top of my head, we don't have 450 additional available. A plant appropriately runs at 80%. We are close to that currently. We can give you some scotia room, but we don't have an ultimate ask.
I thought that the
There's a green space group that might not get their green space, and there's 14 homes. Single residential, that is the highest user of a sewer.
Single residential, you base it on 300 gallons a day, is what.
There's also very many properties in the village that aren't built out. We hold capacity for those. You never know. Look what just happened with this Prospect Street property.
So you were going to get with HRC and you were going to get those numbers to find out what you guys.
And we did, and when we came to you, you said no.
You never gave us no numbers.
Papers from HR.
You guys, nobody's.
When we have our,
All three of you, we met, never mind, I'm not going to be a tape recorder. We've met 6 times, and I think there was only one time out of those 6 that we had all 3 of you in there. Other than that, it was only one person. One time there was you and Justin. And all the other times it was just one. It was
okay,
mostly
and then you
Justin.
said no.
We said no to $1 million, but then we
Okay.
continued meeting after that. And that's how we left it. You were supposed to get us numbers from your engineering.
I feel like you're confusing the fire subcommittee
No, we're not
and the sewer
confusing that.
subcommittee here.
No, we're not confusing that.
So right now, Bruce Township is paying for 500,000?
510. 510.
510.
I believe it's 510.
Do you know what we're paying on 510?
I think I just signed okay. I think we're up around over $300,000 by the time we true up with the, we pay 24% of the maintenance costs, uniforms, telephones, chemicals, everything. And we did say that we would try to work out something with that $1 million, maybe increasing the percentages of the chemical, instead of paying the 24.9% or whatever it is, increase that by percentage and maybe getting that $1 million over time or somewhere is more respectable. Right now, our sewer users, which I think you're on a sewer and on Brew's side, and you're in the village. A lot of these people can't afford the sewer. What they're paying right now is very high. And the price that how can we turn around and pass $1 million worth of cost on our sewer users? We don't have that many users. You know what that would do to their bill, their monthly bill?
And I can't ask my residents to give away something for free that they already paid for, so.
We're not asking.
They're not giving it, you're not giving it away. We will pay you for those services that we use, as we use them.
That capacity is there because the Village of Romeo residents paid for it.
Correct.
And if you would like
And
to
it should be
use it-
considered an investment. When you buy a car, you're not paying for all the oil changes that were made on that car.
We want to make
And the tune-ups.
We want to make some kind of, whatever's fair. We would be willing to make some kind of a fair offer. But as all you guys came to us basically said was $1 million, and when we left off recently, was that you guys are going to get you're going to try to get your numbers down as far as what you guys need as far as future and long-term on your.
At the end of the day, Bruce Township has a need of the Village of Romeo. The Village of Romeo doesn't have a need there.
So you want to hold us hostage.
So right now,
What we do have, but we cannot give it away.
we understand that we're not getting it for free right now. We're paying over in excess of $300,000 for 510,000. Let's just say we increase it to $500,000 or $600,000 a year. that's not something that the Village of Romeo uses as far as their long-term, longevity to pay for the treatment plant? I mean, there is maintenance cost.
If you look at the contract, we don't make money off of Bruce Township. We cover our costs. We use your money to continue to take care of the maintenance of the treatment plant.
So you just,
Make money off of it.
so you would still have to run that treatment plant if we weren't there. So if we took our $500,000 for future users or $600,000 for future users and just went somewhere else, you would be able to pay your retirement health care and all your
usage.
Okay. So you're fine with losing our revenue.
It's not revenue, Mike.
It is. When your pump just went down, I know we just had a big bill, we just paid for a pump. You got to look at it as far as your everyday costs of running the plant, it's still going to be there every day. I mean, you guys look at it however you want, but if you can come with something a little bit more that we can take to our people, except for $1 million price tag, and then we still got to pay the service on top of it, that's what you're saying. How are we going to get $1 million out of our residents? We can't take it out of our general fund. It's got to come out of the sewer fund.
So, do I understand correctly that you said we're paying $300,000 for $510,000 right now?
Right.
Correct.
Okay, so that's basically 1.7 gallons per dollar. So if we want 100,000 more gallons, I guess I'm unsure why it would go from that ratio to, $1 million. It's confusing to me why that would happen.
$1 million doesn't give us any service. We still have to pay that.
No service. They just want $1 million for us to ask for more service.
And I mean, that's
pretty neighborly.
Yeah. Anyways,
I believe you're skewing the information just a bit.
No.
I don't know how. I mean, I don't know who's throwing their hands up in the air, but these are the facts, ma'am. Do you have something you want to say? I'd be more than happy to have you come up to the podium. If you got a solution for both the village and the township, you're more than welcome to stand up at the podium.
Mike?
Yeah.
Yes,
can.
you are.
I mean, that's all I keep you seeing is raising your hands.
I am, because
We're trying to work.
That's
fine.
Well, I constantly hear that from her when we were talking about police at our town hall. Not from you, no. I'm not saying you.
I'm looking forward to meeting with you guys to try to negotiate this out, and I know Jamie's on board now as the clerk, and there's a possibility we might be able to figure this out, but we just can't. There's no way we can pay you $1 million for 100,000 gallons.
The village needs to know what you would like. What do you need?
I've already presented.
We talked about this at our meetings.
I've given you guys, I know I've given you this sheet, Megan, and I've given you actually a breakdown for short-term and long-term, what we need. I've given this to you guys many times, but needless to say, you come to the table,
Like you gave that to me over 2 years ago?
it stays the same. It's still the same,
You
though.
said no.
It's the same.
No, that's not true.
I haven't changed my numbers. Those are the same numbers.
Mike, can I ask how many gallons you're asking for additionally? Because
Yeah, it's like
being new to the board, we haven't seen it.
130,000 gallons for short-term over the next few years,
Sorry,
and
100.
480,000 gallons for long-term.
480, you said?
450 more long-term. I was looking at just under 100 or 1 million gallons a day of flow. And I know you said the plant's at 80% right now, but you guys hear plant's capable of 2.1 million.
Currently at 80%, that's where you run a plant to. You never actually run at 100.
Right. We have plants capable of 2.2, is it, million gallons a day?
Maybe 2.5?
Okay, 2.5 million gallons a day. And what are you guys running through there right now with Bruce's flows? 800 max? So you're sitting with 1.7 million gallons that your plant's capable of treating right now currently that you think you're going to need for future flows, because you got 14 houses that might go on Prospect Street.
Mike, I don't tell you how to use your
You're right.
resources.
I agree. Okay.
We're just
What would be a
talking about the
short-term
facts.
lease? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
What would be a short-term use for
Short.
130,000?
That's like something we're going to need over the next, like, say, 3 years or so. I think anything, I don't remember how I broke down, but
Okay.
in 3 years, we're going to be looking at another we could use another 100,000 gallons.
So you would need this initially, and then after that, you would be looking for the 450.
I think it was 110 or 120 and then 330 for long-term, a total of 450, right?
When I know that you and Frank have been working on it, do we need to make a motion or get anybody else involved, or?
I know the sewer.
I mean, I don't know enough about it to really probably be of a lot of use at this point, but we could certainly,
And I know the sewer, I got the charts I put together and flows and what we've got and what's proposed and what's site plan approved for, and that's the things you need to look at. We got to look at what our vacant properties are, what they're going to be turned into, even in our commercial and our manufacturing area, what's going to go in there, what kind of usages we're going to have. And I thought the chart that we have here is pretty good, and I can get you a chart that breaks it down for you to kind of give you an idea of what I determined it to be. And we have a chart here, it was done by Mike Pfeiffer. It shows that we're running with what we currently have site plan approved for. In our short term, it's going to be 509,000 gallons. So. Then that's like 1,000 gallons under our maximum capacity. But happy to meet with the village at any time.
So as a board, we want to continue the conversation, I assume, so.
Does
Just so
anybody have
she
any
knows.
suggestions from the
Because our
board?
board is talking Monday, and at our last meeting in January, since there haven't been any meetings apparently according to the subcommittee, we were talking about dissolving it in February. So I need to know.
I think as a board, we can make a motion to approve you and Mike and.
Wait a second, the last meeting that we had, you guys were going to go, and I think you said you were going to go get those numbers from Mike McDonald from HRC of what you guys needed for your future flows. Isn't that correct at the last conversation that we had before we
I
adjourned?
don't recall that at all, Mike.
Okay, well, that was, and it's okay, fine, you guys get your numbers and let's come back because you guys needed to see, we can't sell something we don't know we're going to need. So you were going to find out exactly what your engineer was going to determine that you guys are looking at with the Ford plant, with maybe Prospect Street, with your undeveloped pieces of land and what you would be looking at as far as your future flows are. And then you would know how much you have additional left over, and that's where we left off at the meeting, and we were waiting for you.
We can end it right now and just say the Village of Romeo is not interested, and then be done.
Is that, I mean,
Is that what you're saying?
Is that what you would like?
No, we've been waiting to meet again.
I'm here, I've sat for 2 hours, I'm trying to figure out what this board would like,
Well,
and I just.
We
feel like
expressed that at the last
You're sitting
meeting.
here telling me how to use my own resources.
I think Mike is,
Trying to help here.
I think Mike is clear. He said 130,000 gallons a day short-term, 450,000 gallons long-term, so those numbers are clear.
And when we answered that question, and we gave you the offer, we were told no.
It didn't sound like that. It sounded like you were talking about $1 million for 100,000. So Mike's asking for this, so I guess it would make sense to give him a price for this.
If you don't want $1 million for that much, but you want more, you think the price will go down?
I don't know. I'm new to the board. I have no idea why someone would say $1 million for 100,000 gallons. That's certainly not reasonable based on what we're paying now, so
If you had to go build the capacity that you're asking for, right now in today's dollars, that $1 million is a steal. The Village of Romeo residents, they paid for that. That is there because the residents paid for it.
Sure.
You don't now just get to use it.
No, obviously, the township wants to pay for it, but it doesn't sound like if they're not, they're getting nothing for their extra capacity now. Your village could be getting some money for the extra capacity that you have available.
Our capacity, that's our capacity.
There you go. So it doesn't sound like you're interested. I mean, to me, it doesn't sound like it.
And so what they came with for the 450 and the 130 would be $1 million. That was the offer
No,
from the
no, it was
village.
for 100,000.
Just for
So this would be probably like,
Just for
this would be
$100,000 of
$4.5
additional.
million
okay.
based on our numbers.
that's 3 times what we're currently paying. And that $1 million doesn't even include doesn't include the service on the treatment. Yeah.
Which is just hearing what's being discussed. If you don't have the $1 million, and you said, Mike, what if we took all of our capacity? I'm not quite sure where you would go, because that would cost you tens of millions to create something. So I'm not quite sure. If you don't have the $1 million here, how are you going to have tens of millions over here?
So it sounds to me like you're using it as a money grab,
Yeah,
because we
right.
got no
Yeah.
other options, but, you know, let's hope that you're gonna make it so $1 million is very lucrative for us. But, you know, you don't understand, it's not out of our pockets, it's out of the residents' pockets that you guys are sticking it to. These are the people that are gonna have to pay, they're probably living paycheck to paycheck, that are living in condominiums, that are retired, that are having a hard time paying their sewer bill right now that we make pennies on. That basically, it's pretty much all the money goes to the Village of Romeo for our services. Do you want to make this $1 million cost that's going to be passed on to these residents? How are they going to pay when they can't pay the sewer bill right now? I mean, that's just a slap in the face.
The Village of Romeo residents paid for that capacity.
So did Bruce. We both teamed up to build that treatment.
You
That
made
plant
that
back in the,
decision, your leadership made that decision to upgrade that plant.
Correct.
So you should consider that as an investment.
You will pay for it.
You know, this is really, it's a wasted
You're right.
conversation.
Yes.
So
All right.
we should just end this
I agree.
conversation now.
Thank you.
And
Dave.
no more negotiation?
So are we?
well, we're waiting, I'm still waiting for you guys to come back with your numbers of what you can afford to sell, and then if you can come back with a reasonable number, what you'd like to offer. I mean, that's all we're looking at, just be reasonable, Meg, and that's all we're asking. We do need the capacities, and you're right, we do need your sewer treatment plant. But you can't just,
Hold us hostage.
yeah, I mean, that's, I'm sorry, you know, I mean,
Yeah, I guess,
Feel that way.
Mike, could you just formalize it in a letter, what we're looking for? And
I
just
will bring
see
sure.
what comes back.
Okay.
I mean,
Good
that
idea,
just
Dave.
makes
I
sense.
think that would be a good idea.
Yep.
Then you
Because
have it
then it's
writing.
all on paper,
Then
because
you
we
have
can
it
talk
writing.
around in
Right.
circles all day here. We might as well have something on paper.
we're gonna move on. I will present another letter with what we're looking for short-term, long-term. I'll even put some kind of an idea, like, you know, breakdown on what we would like to pay for it, if that'll help you guys out at least, but, I mean, I told you, Megan, if we could do it on a percentage basis, kind of like we pay in the 24.9% that we pay for the services, meaning like for chemicals, uniforms, telephones, any other repairs. If we could increase that by a percentage where it's done over a short term, that's what I was talking to you about before, that would make more sense for us to come up with an additional cost than to try to take it out of a general, or out of our sewer fund that doesn't have millions of dollars in it. You know, I don't know if you remember having that conversation, but to increase that service maybe by 30% or 31% or 32%, and it would make a big difference.
I look forward to your communication.
Okay, thank you. Move on to 8N, Chief. You want to stretch, you guys want to take 5 minutes?
No.
Right? I could use 5 minutes.
Sure.
Then go ahead.
No?
I'm good without it. Whatever you want.
I'd like to take 5 minutes.
Go
We
ahead,
still
Mike.
got
Go ahead.
5 minutes?
Yeah, take 5 minutes.
Let's take a 5-minute break, everybody. Sorry to stretch out. Ready, Riley? Okay, welcome back, everybody. Moving on. Move on to item 8N, Fire Department hoses and nozzles. Chief, you're up.
Yeah, so we talked about this a couple times, finally bringing it to the board. We're looking to upgrade our 2 frontline trucks with consistent hose and nozzles. It's 1,000 feet, 6 nozzles, cover both of our engines.
Chief, speak into that mic.
Cost of $15,974.52. Looking for board approval.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve it as presented for the amount and also for the, how many units?
Bless you.
There's 1,000 feet and 6 nozzles, combination nozzles.
Got a motion to approve and then support. Is there any other discussion? Does anybody have any questions for the chief?
Yeah, so I have a question. You have 2 part numbers for 6 each here.
We do.
What are those?
So because they're combination nozzles,
Okay.
they separate them.
Got it.
So they're going to be stream bore and also fog.
Okay.
Make it easier.
That's for the 15,974.52.
And I did put, Dave, I don't know if you read the other one, there was another piece of paper that I added to this, which broke it down. I don't have it in front of me, but there was
on the back.
There was another piece that I added to this that explained what we were going to accomplish out of.
Yes, I had seen that.
So I don't know if you have any questions on that.
No, you had talked about
We spent a lot of time on it, running flows and different nozzles, different hoses, everything.
Lower pressures.
Lower pressures and GPMs and everything. And this is going to be actually phenomenal.
Okay. Motion and support. If there's no other discussion, can we get a roll call? Roxanne, please.
Vincent?
Yes.
Sockowitz?
Yes.
DeGiorgio?
Yes.
Kraft?
Yes.
Philbrook?
Yes. Motion carries. Move on to item 8O, which is the fire department updating the Plimo vent system for stations 1 and 2.
Yeah, so this is the air system for when our trucks go into the bays at Station 1 and Station 2. Currently, we have 2 different systems. Station 2 is on their own. They have a totally different system because it's a newer station. Actually, I take that back, I'm sorry. Station 3 has its own. That is a newer system. Station 1 and Station 2 are older systems. So basically, we're just going to try to upgrade and limp along, honestly, to get us up and running, for both of those stations. We're switching some parts out. We're changing some things. We're also adding switches to the vehicles, which when you turn the vehicle on or you press the brake or it senses it, it automatically turns the system on and exhausts all the exhaust from the vehicles. So that one I'm asking for not to exceed $3,500.
To include the quantities that are listed in part numbers that are here.
Correct. So I've added $800 to the quote, which was originally $2,695.96, which will outfit 8 of our trucks. We have more than that, but we felt that 8 was a comfortable number for the vehicles that we currently do have, which will outfit Station 1 and Station 2. Basically, to be compliant. The system's always going down. So hopefully this will alleviate that. We did put a grant in for a whole new system.
What is a whole new system going to run as compared?
Each station, I believe, is probably going to run about, I think it's like $40,000, $40,000 or $50,000.
So how long do you think that this is going to get us?
Hopefully, this should get us, I think, for quite a few years. Because this is changing the mechanism system that we have at Station 1 and also at Station 2. And by adding the switches to each vehicle, it should help exhaust the fumes.
Budget-wise?
Budget-wise, we have to do it. It's something that's, should have been done a while ago. And this will also upgrade a lot of the hoses, so it's still gonna be an air system. I know we had talked about this, Dave, that we were gonna convert off of air. We're still gonna be on the air system from what I understand, so I misspoke at that time. But the air system is not gonna kick on the way it kicks on now. It's not gonna be a constant pressure system. So this alleviates, currently we have a constant pressure system, so we have a compressor that fills the lines. Once it's activated, it does its job. This system will allow us to, once that signal is sent, it'll put air into the lines. So it'll alleviate the leaks and the compressor's running constantly. Doesn't alleviate the compressor completely.
Doesn't the pressure hold them in place, technically?
Right, so from what I'm told, that when the switch turns on, it'll automatically boost the pressure in there, and that's what'll keep it in place.
I'm kind of confused.
Is it a magnetic connection to the truck, or?
So the magnetic connection, I believe, was somewhere in the neighborhood of about $2,300 per vehicle.
Okay. So this is an air cuff still that's on the end of the?
It's still an air cuff that's still on the end of the
Plimo vent hose?
The Plimo vent hose,
Okay.
correct.
So my question in this one is, you have an additional 800 for an install, you have 850 in service labor. What is being installed for this extra $800?
So the extra 800 is installing the switches on each vehicle that activate the new system.
And where are the switches built into this cost?
They're going to be, the switches are part of the cost up top.
Okay, so I don't see switches.
Right, but all the parts that we need are in the initial quote, the $2,695.
Okay.
The 800 is to install those on each vehicle by the mechanic.
And then what is the 850 up top, the 5.9 service hours?
That's for them to pull out the monitoring boxes at each station.
Got it.
Replace all the quarter-inch lines, which are failing. And
Understood.
installing that. That's why there's two service charges.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve this Hastings Plimo vent system for stations 1 and 2 as
Support.
presented, not to exceed $3,500. Did you say support?
Support.
Support by Sokowitz. Is there any other discussion at all? Can we get a roll call, please?
Philbrook,
Yes.
DeGiorgio,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Kraft,
Yes.
Sakowicz.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Move on to item 8P, the MAF Local 133 contract. Frank, you want to let me talk on it?
Go ahead, you're more familiar with this.
So our part-time, our paid-on-call Local 133 contract's up for renewal on June 30th of 2025. We need to submit notice of willing to negotiate within 90 days of the contract expiration. The letter you see basically is a letter that I signed and wrote to the union to let them know that we would like to negotiate a new agreement between the MAF union and the employer. So motion would be to approve to send the letter and for David Vincent and myself to negotiate on behalf of the employer.
Support. Are you okay with that, Dave?
Sure.
Okay.
Who is MAF, is that
Oh,
Michigan
I'm sorry, this
Association
was
of Firefighters?
Yeah.
No, I meant Frank on this one.
Oh, Frank, that's fine.
It's up to you.
I'm sorry,
No,
excuse me.
go ahead.
Familiar with fire?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do it. I don't care.
Dave's already doing the TPOAM, so, yeah. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, can we get a roll call, please? Chief, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Sockowitz,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Philbrook,
Yes.
Kraft,
Yes.
DeGiorgio,
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 7, or 8Q is the Bruce Armada Cemetery fencing quotes. Frank?
Yeah, so the Bruce Armada Cemetery, which is located on Armada Center Road, the back half of it needs to be enclosed. There's a total of 995 feet. So therefore, I went out and got 3 bids to enclose that with poles, top rail, and 4 foot of black chain link fence. MEI Construction, they actually put the fencing around the Goodrich Cemetery and did a good job. Their price came in at $12,935. Shelby Fence, their price came in at $14,897. And Eminent Fence, their price came out to $18,100. So, based on these estimates, and because MEI Construction has done work for us previously, they won another bid at the Goodrich Cemetery, I make a motion that MEI Construction be awarded this contract to replace the fence or to install the fence at Bruce Armada Cemetery.
Support.
Support by Vincent. Let it be known that we do have budget, money left over in our budget, which basically is going to get rolled over on March 31st. This is going to be used out of this budget year.
Well, this will be coming out of the 24-25 budget.
Last year's?
Yes. There's still money there for that.
Yep.
Still this year.
Yeah.
So this fencing material, do you know what is it like a black anodized or is it coated?
It's the coated black fencing.
So is it like a vinyl coating that's on the fence?
Yes. Yep.
Do you know about durability on that?
It's a residential durability, but I mean, it's not something that people will be climbing on or, like a residential fence. I mean, it's just going to be there. Again, we've been wanting to enclose it because we have a lot of neighbors around there that complain about people that bring their dogs there and they're running on their property.
Yeah. Understood.
We got a motion, a second. And if there's no other discussion, can we get a roll call?
DeGiorgio,
Yes.
Kraft,
Yes.
Philbrook,
Yes.
Sockowitz,
Yes.
Vincent.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thanks, Frank. Get a hold of them right away so we can try to get it done.
Yep.
Budget year. Let's move on to 8R, our investment depository designation resolution. This is typical housekeeping. Frank, is that you, right?
Yeah, so this is a letter that has to be done every year, has to be updated. Basically, it's the board gives us the permission to invest and use all the banks that are all listed on this page. We don't use all of them, but a couple of them. But all the funds that we have, all this money in, allows us to place them in these banks. So it's the same letter, that's just a date's changed to update the letter.
We'll put a motion on the table, Frank.
Yeah, motion to approve.
It has to be resolution, resolve.
Motion by resolution.
Yeah, motion by resolution to approve the investment and depository designation resolution.
Okay, so second. No other discussion. Can we get a roll call, please?
Kraft,
Yes.
DeGiorgio,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Philbrook,
Yes.
Sockowitz.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thanks, Frank. Item 8S, buy-sell resolution.
Yeah, so again, this is another letter that needs to be updated every year. It's regarding authorization to sell and/or purchase property after the county fails to collect tax dollars on parcels. We have the first option to sell and/or purchase the property. So make a motion by resolution to approve the authorization to sell and/or purchase property.
I'll second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Philbrook,
Yes?
Kraft,
Yes.
DeGiorgio,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Sakowicz.
Yes.
Motion carries. Last item would be 8T. We added a budget amendment for planning and zoning. Motion to amend our current budget to add $1,000 for overtime to our planning and zoning budget.
Can make a motion?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's actually there, but, yeah, okay. Motion with support by DeGiorgio. Is there any other discussion?
Susan, will you let Donna know to add that to the current budget, and we'll give her the amount of what?
So we do have a new GL number that we are working with. Obviously, you've seen that
Oh,
going
yeah.
into the budget, so she'll be
We'll
able
just have
to.
her use that GL and,
So technically, that there is, the budget for the salaried full-time worker with pension is falling, we're under budget on what was currently budgeted for already. So maybe that would apply for, it's not like we're gonna need to add money to the budget. I think there's plenty of money in the budget with her salary.
to cover the 7. It was
Yeah.
minimal.
It just
was
has
a
to be
few hours.
separated. is what
Right.
the-
Right. So we have motion support. If there's no other discussion, can we get a roll call, please?
Vincent,
Yes.
Sakowicz.
Yes.
Philbrook,
Yes.
DeGiorgio,
Yes.
Kraft.
Yes.
Move on to communications. Dorothy, you want to start us out with communications?
I don't really have anything, but thanks, Mike.
Frank?
Yeah, tax bills will be due next week, Friday, another week and a half on the 28th. Even though the township building is closed on Fridays, because of the contractual agreement that we have with the TPOAM, by law, we are required to be open on the last day. So we will be open for tax payments only. I will be here. My deputy, Bob Billick, will be here as well. We open up at 8, and we'll be here till 5 p.m. And also Robin will be here as well, so.
Okay.
That's it.
I don't have much other than we did have our second town hall regarding our police millage. Went really well. We had Anthony Wickersham, the sheriff. We had Commander Jason Ambrose was here. We had a representative from Village of Romeo, Chief Roy. We had Jim Santilli was representing some information with MSP, and obviously we have MSP here tonight, which is very nice of them to come out. Thank you. Their presence has been seen more in our community. The chief has been noticing that we've been getting a little bit more presence. If I'm not mistaken, did they add 2 more officers to the north end, if I heard correctly?
We have anywhere from 1 to 3.
1 to 3, okay, so it did go well. We don't have any idea when it's going to go on the agenda, if it is going to go on the agenda as far as the millage, but we'll probably have more future meetings when we find out a little bit more information. That's about all I have. Susan?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, our November 5th election was audited by the county, and we passed with flying colors. So I'd like to thank my deputy and the rest of my staff. Thank you, Roxanne, for all their efforts, and for the election inspectors who worked those long hours. We had 4 elections last year, which included 3 rounds of early voting.
Great job.
Also, we scheduled a meeting for the 10th for our next budget meeting, and there's a board of review here in the room then. So,
The 10th is, Board of Review is, so we can actually have it in my office. It's only our board.
Only because it's public, right?
It
You
has to
might
be
have
public,
to.
Then they can do Board of Reviews. I mean, it's only we can figure it out. We'll figure something out. Board of
All right.
Reviews can be done in my
Our
office,
meeting's
too.
at 11, right? Board of Review starts what time?
10, I think.
10.
Okay.
It would be 9 o'clock, I think. If it's the day shift, it would be 9 to 3 that day, I believe.
Oh.
I used to do
An
board
all-day
review.
thing.
All day, okay.
Yeah, they can have the hearings in my office at my round table, so.
That's all I had.
Dave?
I have nothing.
Chief, come on, give us.
I do have one other thing.
You have something?
Yeah, I do have one other thing. Our accounting assistant, Dawn Bean, will be leaving. Tomorrow's her last day, and I'd just like to wish her good luck in her future position, as well as thank her for all the hard work that she's contributed to the township and has helped various people in this township make their process of doing their job more easier with their expertise. And she is very valuable, and we're going to miss her tremendously. She was a good team player.
Pizza party tomorrow.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, Frank. If there's nothing else for this board to discuss, I'll make motion to adjourn at 8:40 PM. All in favor?
Aye.
Everybody, thank you for coming out tonight. Appreciate everybody at home watching.
Who seconded? I'll second it.
Have a good night, stay safe.
Yeah, right.
Trooper, thanks for coming out tonight.